Hey, welcome to Build. I'm Joe Levy. I'm a contributor at Rolling Stone and Billboard, and I'm excited to tell you that today we're going to talk with Tove Lo about her fourth album, Sunshine Kitty.
Thank you.
Okay, so album number 4, Sunshine Kitty.
Wow, yeah.
There is said kitty right here.
Yes, there she is.
And you have explained the kitty is an extension of you. Let's talk about that for a second. First, it's a lynx, and I'm not sure everyone knows, but
Yeah, Lo means lynx in Swedish, and Lo, it's been my nickname since I was a kid. There was a lynx at this animal park in Sweden that was named Tove, and I kind of fell in love with it, and it's just been my nickname since I was little. So I kind of wanted to do something, every album I try to okay, visually, what's the next step? And so I thought I really wanted to add a visual element, and so it felt kind of natural too, because I've talked so much about the lynx, and yeah, I've been kind of into just animations in general, so it felt like a cool move.
it is. It's very cute.
It is very cute.
But as you've said, this cute little animal gets into fights, gets fucked up.
Yes, you'll be seeing more of that. To be honest, though, a lot of we've been making all these little clips and gifs of her doing stuff, but a lot of them got banned from all the social media platforms already. So there's one of her.
The Sunshine Kitty is so over the line that she's been banned.
Well, no, she's there's one where she's doing a fuck you and looking pretty still cute, and that wasn't allowed anywhere. So yeah, I don't know. I get maybe because she's so cute, the contrast of it is what messes with people approving this stuff. I don't know.
So are those available anywhere? Are they on your site or?
Well, we're still working it out right now to get them available. There's all those sites where you can download different GIFs and stuff. I'm not an expert on this, but all I'm just doing what? That's not allowed. Come on. But we're making versions of, and also there's a problem because there's my vagina logo on her belly. That's been a bit of a problem.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The world is changing.
This is a recurring theme for you, though. You pushing boundaries and maybe running into a little trouble on social media. You had a short film on the last album that was briefly taken down from YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, some of the things I'm prepared for it, but I didn't expect her to get censored. Let's say that.
You're prepared to take the heat yourself,
yeah.
But you're not sure that the
I thought I'd be safe, but she'll get away with more than I do. But
so Sunshine Kitty follows Ladywood Parts 1 and 2, second part Blue Lips. Tell us about the difference. Let's hear a little bit about the Sunshine part of this.
I think it's combination of me having lived in LA for 3 years and kind of what the sun does to you, and then also me writing this album from a calmer place in my life, kind of being sort of in a bit more in control of the chaos, or at least knowing that I've just been in a happier place. And so it's been kind of cool to write songs. Even though, I've been saying oh, this album is a bit happier, but then I'm listen through it, I'm it's kind of still quite dark at times. but I think but I wrote it from a happier place. And I think that was a big difference for me, kind of knowing that I can still create emotional things that, has depth or some darkness to it or happiness to it, even if I'm not in a chaotic situation.
I mean, certainly I've listened to this record. There's as much conflict. There are hookups, but there are also breakups. There's the feeling of first love, but also disappointment. But is it fair to say that there's a little more sense of these songs coming from a place of control or coping with the situation?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. And I think kind of in a way, I've always been very vulnerable in my music, but I feel the past, looking back at Ladywood and Blue Lips, I was clearly going through something, looking at the short films, and it's kind of, I guess I just I work through everything through my art. And so, which makes it, me going through it in front of everybody who's watching, basically. But it's just kind of what I need to do to live. That's what I do to live my life, how I cope with everything. So I think but I could sense this kind of like anger about being vulnerable. And now it's more like an acceptance of being vulnerable and kind of liking that, liking the sort of the fact that like I need other people in my life and I want to be able to lean on people and be loved.
And the power that comes from accepting yourself as you are. Then.
Yeah, exactly.
You said the Sunshine, partly a reference to moving to LA 2 years ago. You moved there. Where was home base before that?
I was in New York for a bit.
Aha.
Always feels like home when I come back here. And then, I mean, it's kind of hard to say. Like, it's like I had a place in Stockholm that I still have. My drummer lives there now when we're not on the road. And then a place in New York. And then now I have a place in LA. But I'm always away,
Even if you visited LA, there's nothing quite like living there for a while where every day is perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, it's another perfect day.
Drives you a little bit crazy. It's like, I think I'm just like, I notice that when I come to a cold place where it's raining, I'm like, this is more in tune with who I am. But I feel like, but it's been good for me. Like, it's kind of, there's something to, you lose a lot of like everyday stresses when you don't have to factor in weather. It's weird. Like you kind of you can just leave your house and you don't have to think about anything.
You know what to wear.
Yeah. You know what to wear. You don't have to bring an umbrella. Stuff isn't going to get ruined. It's like you can just kind of get from A to B without any hassle.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
Maybe that's a big deal. And like people are just like living slower lives and it's like a thing to take care of yourself. I don't know.
No, I mean, that's absolutely true. A lot of people go to LA and start taking vitamins.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
It happened to me.
Did you really? Did you get into a more healthy lifestyle out there?
Yeah. I mean, it was like combined with I have this one, Courtney, who works with me, who is Reflexology, shout outs. She is a nutritionist, and she was just like, just kind of secretly going like, here, eat this, take this, have this, And so I would just, all of a sudden, now I have like a little vitamin package. Like it's like one of those little drawers that you put like nails and screws in if you're a handy person, but I have vitamins in all of those. So it's like, yeah.
You have a little array of lids that you flip up, and, you're taking vitamins instead of,
like an old lady.
Oh,
yeah.
Sure, yeah, okay, all right. And drinking lots of freshly pressed juices, I imagine.
Yeah, I kind of over juices, though. It's just like they don't taste good. And
okay.
I don't know. But
fair enough.
But it's kind of like it's also a thing of like when you tour this much and you travel this much, like you need, because I do still like to go out a lot and like, party and go dancing and stuff. So you kind of need to balance it out if you're going to be able to do all the things I need to get up and do in the day,
Yeah. You have to be able to survive for the next party.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's talk a little about the writing and recording of the record. You worked in LA, Stockholm, and London as well. Is that right?
Yes. It was mainly, I was in London a lot, but writing for other artists. So this was mainly like a Stockholm, LA effort. Yeah.
And what were the first things that came together for this record?
I think it was one of the first songs was the next single, "Sweet Talk My Heart," which is out very soon. And it was funny because I remember I was in the studio with Ludwig Söderberg, who is pretty much on every song on this record. He's like my main producer guy since day one, and these two new Swedes, Jack and Coke, who I started working with for this album. And the four of us have just had this really great chemistry and written a bunch of songs for this album. And we were there was like that very like early stages, like no pressure, just have a session and see what comes out of it. And we wrote Sweet Talk My Heart. And I remember thinking like, wow, this is like really happy and feels very like, I don't know, I feel like I'm starting to write my album now. I just remember having that thought of like, is this like where it's kind of going? It was kind of like a sort of starting to like navigate the way through whatever new thing is going to be,
And you've said you feel there are more bangers on this record? Yeah, it is funny when I say the word bangers, isn't it? Yeah, I'm old. But let's talk about Glad He's Gone, which was one of the first songs we heard, and does fit that more up-tempo feel, even if it's dealing with being happy that there's a breakup.
Yeah.
That song has a video I think is kind of epic, where you seem to be all over the world. At one point, you're walking by a cow, and then you're in a snowy forest. So
I'm so proud of that video. I think it's the best video I've ever done.
it really is amazing. And I wanted to ask, is that done on green screen, or were you in all those places? Or
Well, so we shot for 4 days in Kiev. I think it was like 17-hour days. Like, it was pretty intense. But it was great because like Vanya and Gal, who directed it, who are amazing, we just knew exactly what every shot was supposed to be. It was like the most like, despite it being so long and like no one was complaining. I mean, I don't speak Ukraine, and a lot of the production team was Ukraine, but it was just the vibe was everyone was working really hard. We knew exactly what we were doing. It was just like a very good vibe on the shoot, and it was like, sorry to answer your question, a lot of it was green screen, but because they're like just kind of, you know, geniuses with that as well. So and it was like, yeah, I don't know. It was all of the kind of outside stuff where I'm in fields, and like the prison, everything is like setups or like kind of different park areas in Kiev that we found.
Because explain the narrative for someone who hasn't seen it.
Oh, sorry.
You're in a diner. You get a call from
my friend
who's broken up with her boyfriend.
Broken up with her boyfriend, and I start kind of like, you know, the song is basically just me giving advice and like asking like, how did it end up? You know, were you being the great girlfriend that
well, that's not actually what you ask, is it? That's not actually what you ask.
No, I ask some cheeky questions like, did you go down on his birthday?
There we go. Okay.
You know, all that stuff. And it's kind of like, it's like making fun of the sort of like stupid demands, you know.
Right.
And
my favorite of those questions is, did you show him all your crazy? Yeah. And the answer is no, because that would be the nice thing to do.
I didn't. No. And during the song though, basically what I'm doing is it's kind of like you know how when you're on the phone, you tend to just kind of keep walking if you're in an intense conversation. You just like, you don't think, you just like walking in circles or like, and so instead of me just walking through the neighborhood, I kind of end up walking through all this bizarre nature areas.
Go around the
like,
entire globe,
yeah.
End up in prison, break out.
Exactly. And then I end up accidentally killing this guy who's robbing an aquarium for some reason, and end up in prison. And like, you see all these shots, and then I break out of prison. All this just to be able to like keep in touch with my friend and like, you know, smuggle in a phone so that I can call her back. Like, there's all these.
It's really epic.
Yeah, it is. Thank you. It is really epic.
Yeah, no, it's a ton of fun.
Yeah. So I think, but that's the thing. Like shooting, we shot 22 setups. But I was so impressed with, you know, like, so there's one shot where I'm among all these penguins jumping from one rock to another. And I was like, how are they going to make this work? Because what we shot was just these two random plastic rocks in the middle of a green screen setup. And I was like, how are they going to pull this off? This is fucking crazy. This is not going to look good. But I was like, I've seen their stuff. I know they're amazing. I'm just going to like I really trusted them with their vision.
It is super convincing, actually.
Yeah,
that's why I asked, were you in those places? Because I figured you were not in the middle of the desert and in the middle of a forest,
exactly.
in a snowy forest.
But it was like, what's the one with like the cow and then like the deer? Where did you find deer? And I was like, no, it was not.
Yeah, and the cow, you shot that in Kiev, but it's funny, when you passed the cow, I was like, that is so Swedish.
Yeah, I know.
That is.
Yeah, they did a really good job with like finding all the like the shots that we needed, and it was a really, really amazing shoot to do.
So just recently you released "I Really Don't Like You" with Kylie Minogue. Yes. There's an interesting, I guess you call it a lyric video, but it's actually more produced than that, of the two of you singing, almost like a karaoke version of the song.
Yeah.
That song has one of my favorite lyrics that I've encountered recently, till my tears in these drinks run dry. You know, you're going to keep at it until you're just out of crying or out of drinks. And
because when you're out of drinks, usually the tears will you've like drowned your sorrows, kind of.
Okay.
Try to.
Okay.
Try to.
If those things run dry at the same time, you're having a good bad
you found
night, I
the
guess.
good level. It's
Yeah.
really hard. It's really hard to find, but sometimes you just get that perfect level.
But tell me a little bit about working with Kylie.
Mm-hmm.
You encountered each other in Hong Kong, is that right?
Yes. So we both well, it started back when I was releasing Ladywood, and I posted this picture of me with like my lyric book, and because I still write all my lyrics with pen and paper, and she commented like, "Oh yeah, she's a pen and paper girl," and I was like, "Is this really someone fucking with me? Like, is this really her?" And I like screen grabbed and like saved it in my little folder of like, cool moments in life. And that was kind of in the back of my mind. And then when we played this Amphar event together in Samphar charity event in Hong Kong, we asked if I like, do you think she'll be down to meet me? Like, I really want to meet her. And she was like, yes. And then I got to meet her, and she was so sweet and lovely and cool. And
did you bring up her comment on your post of your lyric book?
no, but I was just more like, hey, finally get to meet you, and like, and we were both saying we were fans of each other. And then she said, oh, I'd love to work with you sometime. And I was like, mental note. And so then when, I was making this record, it was kind of in the back of my mind the whole time. And so then I felt like Really Don't Like You was something that would fit her really well, would fit her voice, her vibe, and just sent it to her, and she loved it, did her thing to it. It was such an easy, lovely collaboration, and I'm very in awe, it's a cool moment for me.
Yeah, no. Again, a good song. Another one, I guess, on the downside or the other side of a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You in this song, you or the people singing the song are walking into a party, seeing a girl with an ex, and feeling,
It's
I really
that thing
I
of-
don't need this right now.
Yeah, and the kind of feeling of like you just like you see your ex with this new person who you immediately start like to compare yourself to, and kind of right away it's like you just hate them, and it's not their fault, it's not the new person's fault that something went bad.
Sometimes it is.
Sometimes it can be, but I mean usually it's like your ex's fault, or never my fault. But I feel like it's that moment of like just like unreasonable hate for this person, and you kind of like, it's a really vulnerable song, kind of admitting to that, because that's not a proud feeling to feel. And so you're kind of admitting to like, I know I'm in the wrong, but I just
Well, there's this
don't
moment
wanna-
where you say, I know I'm breaking the code.
Yeah.
And
Breaking the girl code. Yeah.
And is that girl code that you don't hate on your ex's
Well, I
new
feel like
girlfriend?
it is now. I think it's like there's this kind of new thing now where it's like girls are is like support each other, like don't like put each other down or like talk shit about each other because of history, and like because of how we need to empower each other to kind of, move on up and forward. And so I think it's I'm like kind of hinting to that in the song, that like, instead of being pissed at your ex, you're being pissed at this new person. But then I really just like the sort of the honesty and like, really, I just don't like you. You look prettier than I do tonight. And that's kind of a very honest, vulnerable thing,
Yeah. So we're here in New York. You just came from Sweden. You've been rehearsing some of the new material.
Yes.
You're playing an album release show here in New York this week. What has bringing these songs to life been like?
I had this moment, like, because we were rehearsing in it's this old house outside of Stockholm where me and my band will rehearse, and we've rehearsed there for like the last 2 tours. And so it was kind of like this weird moment of like, oh, I have a new album coming out. Like this is happening. Like it's already here. It just went all of a sudden, like it's release week, and it's been really great. And I think we're so in tune with each other now. Me and my band, they're amazing musicians. They work so hard, and it's just been like fun feeling like, oh, I can feel that this is kind of a new sound for me, And I think that's really cool to to have that.
Tell me more about that. A new sound. What's new? How would you describe it?
I don't know. It's like hard to explain in some ways because there's like just this essence of where I feel like the songs feel almost a little bit more effortless and a bit more pop even. And there's more like just like sound wise, there's more kind of like acoustic elements in there. I think I experiment with my voice a little bit differently, which also has to do with, it takes years to get back from a vocal cord surgery. So like I can hear the difference in like recording Queen of the Clouds was when it was like running on its last fumes, but it sounded really cool and husky. And Ladywood, it was just like very clear and like super like light, because it hadn't built up the kind of like heaviness in the voice yet. And Blueless was kind of like in between those levels. And now it's at this kind of, I have all the control and power back in it, but I still got some of the huskiness that I love. So it's like,
again,
feels fully
when you
back
can
now.
get there, it's
Yeah.
a good balance.
Yeah.
We've got time for some questions from the audience. Sorry. Oh, you're going to have to bring that closer. Well, we'll get this. Oh, there we go.
There it is.
There we go. Will we get to see you and Kylie do a live performance of Really Don't Like You?
I mean, I'm like, how do I answer this without making any promises? No, like this.
You would like to?
Yes, I'd love to, and like we're obviously trying to be in the same place at some point so we can make that happen.
Okay.
Because that would be amazing. I mean, I'll probably die a little bit, but in a good way.
Okay. We've got one right over here in the front.
Hi, I just wanted to congratulate you on this new album coming out. I think you're one of the most talented songwriters of this new generation. And I wanted to ask you, because you said that this album comes from a happier place in your life. What's the song that's the most special to you on this album, or the one that you're most excited about?
I think I'm like, it's hard to pick from my babies, obviously, but I think Sweet Talk My Heart feels really special because it's like a song embracing vulnerability and like, after all the like weird, like kind of crazy breakups I've been through, I'm still able to feel this like naive love, and like being naive about love. And I am really happy about that it's like, the scars haven't like ruined, haven't made me cynical, whatever. So I feel like, yeah, that song's really special to me for that. Yeah.
We've got one more right here.
I love you. Saw your Robin's concert. You looked so beautiful just as you do right now.
Thank you.
My question is there any song that has been written for another musician or recorded for another musician that you wish it was your song? And what do you think about Robin?
Oh, you mean like when I've written for someone else, if it's like, oh, I wish I kept that song. I haven't had that because like when I'm writing for someone else and I'm in the room with another artist, it's kind of like I'm so focused on them, and also it's kind of like an impossible moment to be like, hey, you know what though, I'm gonna take this one, and it's usually
Thanks for lunch, but I'm taking this song
exactly.
back. Yeah.
You can go home now. No, but it's like it's so like, when you go into the room that it's like, for this artist and they're writing it too. So it's like, but I think when I've had sessions when the artist hasn't been in the room and we've just been kind of writing like me and other writers, producers, then it can be a moment of like, actually, can we not pitch this because it turned into me. I had a lot to say today.
Is there one that comes to mind that you were just writing and thought, no, I'm keeping this one for myself?
Well, I think, Anywhere You Go, that's the last song on this album, actually. I was kind of like, was going to like put it up for adoption, I was about to say, but put it up for like pitching. But then after like spending some time with it, I was like, this is a really personal song. Like, how did I not see this, And we kind of like, it was kind of more production based because then we reproduced it and kind of like gave it a little bit more of like a darker, like melancholic essence. And so
brought it home.
Brought it home, exactly.
I think we've got one more right here.
Hi, Tove.
How are you?
I love you. So my question is, how did you know Sunshine Kitty was the perfect album title?
I think it came together in a few different stages. So it started with me kind of like looking at my other titles and like realizing that they all have some sort of like, pussy power vibe about them. So I wanted to make sure it had that. And then also, kind of incorporating the links into it all. But then it was watching this episode of Girls where Lena Dunham, or her character Hannah, talks about this author that she admires. And she says like, oh, everyone loves the glow on her face, and that she has such she's so radiant, but she's like, but what she does is she lays out and tans her vagina. So she's soaking up the power of the sun through her vagina. So that's not like moisturizer, that's like sun in her pussy. And I just thought that was like an amazing thing to say. So that's how it was born. Yeah.
Well, okay. We're going to leave it there for now. Tove Lo, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.